Hi everyone, this is Sean McDonough. This is demo number 5, working with the Content Search Web Part Query Builder. And in this particular demo, what I'm going to show you is how to work with the Query Builder to refine and pare down the results that are shown by the Content Search Web Part so that you're only showing the data you want to show, not everything from across the search index. So let's start by going into my query-driven selection page here. Now when I go into this page, on the left-hand side, I've got a bunch of static links, and these each point to a particular musical release. Now, this requires a little bit of explanation. I used to be a DJ, and every year around Christmas time, I put together music compilations called Bunker Tunage. There's quite a bit of backstory there. If you want to learn more, go to www.bunkertunage.com, and you can pick up the mixes as well as learn how I came to do these. But the long and short is, each one of these items is a musical release in a different genre of music. So we have ambient chill, dance trance, electro industrial, and mish mashup. Now, those links, what they do is they post back to the page that we're currently on. The page that we're on is called query-driven-selection.aspx. And when I click on a given link, it is going to add a query string parameter called release title, and it's going to set that query string parameter equal to the name of the particular release that I'm clicking on. So in this case, I clicked on Dance Trance 2013, and it added that as a query string parameter. If I click on Mish Mashup and go look at the URL again, then I'm going to see the release title is Mish Mashup 2013. The idea here is by clicking on each of these links, and this is just a content editor web part with a bunch of static links, by clicking on each of the links and posting back to this page, I have an instance of a content search web part on the page. You can't see it right now because we're not in edit mode. I'll show you in a second. But the idea is to set that content search web part so that it pulls from the library that contains each of the songs for that release and shows them as results for the content search web part. So let's start by going over and looking. Let's go to Site Contents. We'll go to Bunker Tunage. And you can see here I've got a bunch of MP3s. There are 4 different album covers, one for each version of Bunker Tunage from 2013. And you can see the different songs, and there are a total of 77 in the library, and they're all thrown in here. But if I click on one of these, you can see, so this is a song by Phil Perry called Venomous. It's a dance trance song. The release, I have a particular column I've bolted on called Release, and it has Dance Trance 2013. If I were to go to an ambient chill song, it would have release equal to ambient-chill 2013. So I have all of these songs in a single document library. My goal is to go ahead and pull back only those songs that I'm interested in displaying based on the link that I've clicked on. So let's go all the way back to query-driven selection. We'll place this page in edit mode. And so if I come in and I edit this web part, I go into the web part, and actually, let's go to source. Not that source. There we go. So if I come in and show you the web part here, the content editor web part, here are the static links. I'm just posting back to the query-driven selection page with a release title, ambient chill, release title, dance trance. And of course, we don't actually have any content being shown on the page right now, do we? That's because if we come in and look at the content search web part and change the query for it, you'll notice we don't have any query actually specified. The reason no results are shown is because we're not querying for any results. So we need to query for some results. And the very first thing I want to do is I want to set a restriction for the results I pull back so that I'm only pulling from the document library of interest. So let me cancel out of here for a second. I'm going to go back to my bunker tunage library, and I'm going to go ahead and pull the path information from the URL. So we're interested in content that comes from http://sp2013-dev:1850 and then the bunker tunage document library. So I copied that, and I'm going to come back, go back to editing my page, select my content search web part, and change the query. And I know that I'm interested in the path property because the path is the portion of the URL that I'm interested in. I only want URLs that have a path that contains the value that matches bunker tunage. So notice when I said path contains manual value and I supplied the URL, it went ahead and added path : and then the specific path information once I hit the add property filter button. So what this highlights is I don't need to understand the keyword query language to start building a query here. All I need to know how to do is work with the drop downs, select values, and push them in here. Now if I'm interested in seeing what comes back, I can click test query, and you'll see I get about 80 results back here. And this corresponds to the items in that document library. And it's only songs, so I'm seeing those results come back that I care about. So I know I'm already on the right track. But I don't just want songs. You know, I had 77 items. There's other stuff that's coming back, apparently, if I've got 80. So tell you what, let's go ahead and say we only want to return items and add that as a keyword filter. Now look what happens. My query's been modified to include content class, either a list item or is document is true. So again, I didn't need to understand that when I only wanted to return items, I needed to specify this particular content class and set a Boolean for or is document equal to true. When I do a test query now, okay, well since I'm only returning items now, I get the 77 back that I expect. That's how many are in the document library. So the other items, the 3 that got us up to 80, must have not been list items or been actual documents. So they could have been forms or something else in there. But still, these are all of the items that are in that document library. I only want to show the ones that correspond to a particular query string parameter, right? Well, let's come back over to keyword filter, and you'll notice one of my options is value of a parameter from URL. Well, hey, that's what I want. I want a query string parameter restriction. So I'm going to go ahead and add keyword filter, and that modifies my query to say query string dot my parameter 1. Well, in this case, query string is the identifier for a query string parameter. I need to specify the actual name of the parameter that I care about here for my parameter 1. You might recall that release title is how we're filtering, or how we've identified each of the songs in the library to associate it with a release. So I care about the release title query string parameter. Now when I do test query, I get no results back. At first this might scare you. You go, oh wait a minute, it doesn't work. Well, think about it for a second. We've identified that we want to filter by the release title query string parameter, but we haven't actually selected a release title. And we can't do that right here on this screen. Well, we could modify the query text and hard code a value in. But this is where we go over to the test tab, do a show more, and we have more or less a full content search web part test suite available to us. Here's the template that's being run, or the query that's being run, how it's being refined, how it's being grouped, and look here, query template variables. if I want to test my query string, I can actually supply a value here. Well, I don't have any releases named Bob. So by typing Bob and hitting test query, I should get no results back. And that's indeed what happens, no results. However, if I type ambient chill 2013 and run a test, now look, I get 19 results back. And these are the ones that I know are only associated with my ambient chill release. If I change my query, or change my query string parameter, and I say dance trance 2013, I'm going to get a different set of results back. I'm only going to get 16 this time, and these are the ones that are associated with my dance trance release. So as I add parameters, as I change my query, I can keep hitting this test query button and see exactly what's going to come back. So this is in fact the query I want to use. Let me click OK. I'm going to click OK for the web part, tool part. I am going to check my page in, and I'm going to publish it. Now, when I hit one of these links, I get results on the right-hand side. These are my dance trance release mix, my electro-industrial, mish mashup, and ambient chill. So in this case, I'm using query string parameters, but you're not required to use query string parameters, and you certainly don't have to hard code links. You can use metadata term sets. You can pull values from a variety of different locations. You just need to play with the query builder to form the query that's going to work for you based on how you are passing that parameterized information in. And you can select, like I said, metadata terms. You can use query strings. You can base it on the individual user who's coming in. There's a user segment that you can apply for testing. And remember, these are search results, so they are security trimmed. So you're only going to see results that are available to you personally. And each individual user is going to have trimmed security results. So that's how we work with the query builder in the content search web part. There's quite a bit more to do than what I just showed you, but hopefully that whets your appetite and can get you going. So that concludes demo number 5, working with the content search web part query builder. And in the final demo, number 6, I'm going to show you some display templates and how those work with the content search web part. Thank you very much.